What's up YouTube? Welcome back. So today we are going to take you through a workout, which is going to be a chest and back workout. So front boobies and back boobies. And it's going to be more hypertrophy based. So we're looking at hypertrophy, we're working a rep range anywhere really from 8 to 15 at the sort of end thresholds. I smashed my back yesterday doing a lot of deadlifts, so we're going to see exactly how we go. We're going to talk you through exactly why we're doing what we're doing. We're going to start off with a bench press and a kettlebell row variation. Basically, we're going to be working antagonistically. So antagonist muscle group meaning opposing muscle group. So we're going to do chest and back today. You could do quad and hamstring if you were to do a lower body focused workout. So we're going to do that inside, but I'm kind of gutted because it's so nice outside here and we're at the gym Mingara in this lovely sign right here. We're going to get into this. Will, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, man. Damn, it's knocking the hell out of me. So 2 compound movements, back to back, 5 sets, 8 reps, about 40 seconds rest in between, maximum sort of like 45, 50 seconds. Keep that heart rate up. Short rest time is kicking my ass. I'm genuinely used to hitting a couple of sets, resting for 3 to 5 minutes and then going again, but I'm trying to increase the density of the workout. So basically trying to accumulate more exercises in a shorter period of time. So I got a lot of time to train today. So it's a really good way to get enough volume in your total workout span over the week is increasing density. So you can increase density by lots of different measures. Decreasing rest time is one of them, which is what I'm using today. We can add intensification techniques at the end of sets, drop sets, rest pause sets, all those sort of things will help increase the density as well. And today we're just keeping it simple. Short rest time, which reminds me, we're gonna have to go again for our last set.
Did you do another workout this morning before you?
No, I didn't, thank God for that. I made sure that I tried to keep out of doing an extra workout. Last week, if you remember, when we shot the footage here, I'd already done a workout less than an hour before we started, and it was horrible. And it's not my forte doing CrossFit style workout, but it kicks my ass. And then when we shot, I was dying in the ass. But I'm fresh today, so hopefully I perform and don't look like a complete pussy. My technique, getting up set up for a bench, so I set up, yeah. Just one thing, if you want to thank anyone for the music today, Logan is your guy. Say hello to everyone, Logan. He's got skills. Big Barry White fan, I've heard, while he's training. So my setup is a modified powerlifting technique. So powerlifters, the goal with, say, a bench press or any exercise is to move as much load from point A to point B as possible. So they're very, very stable in their lifts. So for me, I want to add, yes, an element of stability to optimize sort of force production, generate as much power as I possibly can in this almost was horizontal plane, but I also want to stimulate muscle growth quite a lot as well. So I'm not completely restricting, I'm not going so wide as well to just focus on stability and generating force. I want to try and create as much metabolic or as muscular damage in my pecs as I possibly can. So my arch isn't over arch, I've not got this excessive flexion in my thoracic spine. It's enough for me to be able to create stability, but also create a lot of tension in my pecs, my grip as well. I don't like going too wide because at least for this phase, I want to focus a lot more on strength of the tricep. A lot of people are weak in their bench, and Matt Wenning says this best, who's a world record holder powerlifter for, God, he's got so many records, but is that they're weak in the triceps, not predominantly the chest. You've got to think the pec is an internal rotator muscle. As it sort of comes up from the bottom of the bench press, it's internally rotating to the degree at which it needs to. Then a lot of the lockout, especially from here up, is a lot of lack of strength in the triceps. So if you want a strong bench, 2 things I advise is get strong as fuck triceps, but also get really, really strong overhead, which incorporates a lot of triceps. A direct correlation or carryover from your overhead strength of vertical pressing to your horizontal pressing. So check that out. That took way longer than I thought it would. That's hard. For those of you guys who don't incorporate a lot of bodyweight exercises in your training, like I don't, just doing a few, just simple rows like supine rows, decline push-ups, can really sort of make the difference in your training, plus increase your body awareness. You know, using nothing, just using your what you have to work out. So when you eventually transition into weights, I feel you've got a much greater awareness of your muscle and where you are in space. So almost there. We're almost done. Guys, don't know if I'll let you know. So we just did just a simple ladder of 10 supine rows, 10 push-ups, again looking at density, trying to get a lot of volume in a short amount of time. I find that I like the 10-1 ladder because from a psychological perspective, you're like starting high and you're closer to finishing. You're almost at the 0 point. 1 to 10 is probably a little bit more of a mind fuck. But again, bodyweight exercises allows to accumulate a lot of volume in a very, very short amount of time. And it's very safe as well to do. If we're looking at loads, things like that, you know, so if I combined pull-up and a bench press, for example, much more difficult, harder to do, and again, not necessarily better because there's a greater risk of injury as well. Not that you shouldn't do it, if your body's capable of doing it, great. But even just doing something like the ladder of decline push-ups and supine rows, just the body weight was still challenging enough. So did that, and now we're about to play around with some resistance bands. So I'm setting these up for like a cable fly or resistance band fly. I've never done it before, but theoretically, it seems like it'll work. We're gonna try it out, and it looks like it's the same height too. Just about, again, playing around with what you've got. If you don't have a lot of stuff, especially for you guys that are doing home workouts, if you're over in the motherland in the UK, these things are probably gonna help a hell of a lot, just thinking outside of the box and thinking what you can do and what you're trying to stimulate. So we'll have a go, huh? We're for around 8 to 10 here, so we do 3 sets, 8 to 10. That's challenging as fuck. As you can see, there's an element of stability here because we've got no cable structure. These bands want to move up and down and everywhere. So you got this element of stability here, which is kind of cool. Again, it's not necessarily better. It's just one of the byproducts of just using these resistance bands. So cable flies, resistance band flies. If you notice how I'm going about doing this is I'm trying to get as much of a stretch here in my pec as I possibly can, and I don't, for the most part, don't like coming in anywhere sort of further in than this. I find that it's easy enough to, as you notice as I'm coming in, I'm still flexing my pec, but I'm also internally rotating my shoulder very slightly. And that's enough to help let this anterior deltoid here, the front of your shoulder, the frontal muscle of this shoulder, recruit. So that's gonna therefore take a little bit of tension off your pecs. My opinion only, I've seen some very, very jacked and smart people go all the way in. Again, it's absolutely fine, but I just prefer I find it easier to keep tension on my pec by not allowing it to come anywhere further in than here. And we're gonna superset that just with a face pull variation. So a high to low face pull. This exercise here, I'm focusing on trying to hit my rear deltoid or my posterior deltoid, this tissue that sort of sits in here. If you look at the makeup, a lot of people will hit their medial or rear deltoid, not medial, deltoid in the sort of a reverse pec fly motion. So completely horizontal, which again is fine, it will stimulate it, but if you look at the makeup and the fibers of the posterior deltoid, it looks like this. Okay, so it comes up, I can't really do it on my own shoulder, but like this, up on the shoulder. So I guess the optimal way of recruiting it is actually in a rowing variation. That's why I like this exercise so much, because it sort of imitates the fiber, the makeup of your posterior deltoid. Again, different variation, my opinion only. I'd love to know what you guys think, how you like to recruit your rear deltoid. So leave a comment below, and I'd love to open up a discussion on this, on the, not necessarily best, but I think we can all agree there's no best exercise, really. There's different variations of exercise, so I'd love to know what you guys think of which is a good exercise to hit that rear deltoid. Leave the comments below. There we are. So, lovely day we're having outside. Most important thing, guys, about training in any gym, regardless of how difficult it is put your shit, I mean, it's not difficult at all, to be honest. Put your shit away. That is very awkward, but I'm putting it away. I brought it out, so I'll put it away like a grown-up. So, just finished our workout, we're about to head home. Firstly, look how beautiful the sunshine is here. Thank you, Sydney, your little gem. We'll enjoy that later, but we're gonna go home, do a whiteboard session. We're gonna talk all about protein, just about how much protein we should be having, what is protein, what it does in the body, things of that nature. So we'll see you soon. Okay guys, we are home and we're going to talk a little bit about protein. So protein being the most important macronutrient for a variety of reasons. We're going to keep this short and right to the point. So a couple of the benefits of proteins are its satiety effect. Protein is very satiating, especially if you are in a calorie deficit. So essentially a negative net energy balance. So you are essentially burning more calories than you are consuming. You're trying to drop body fat, drop weight, whatever. So that is a calorie deficit. So when you're in this deficit, protein helps. It helps you stay satiated so that you're not going to overconsume other calories from carbs, fats, and even more proteins as well. So it's super important for that. And it's also going to help you retain lean body mass. So you need a sufficient amount of protein when you are trying to retain lean body mass, but that needs to be combined with resistance training as well to try and hold on, to give the body the stimulus to hold on to that lean mass. So you need to provide the nutrients, proteins, and then also the stimulus being resistance training to keep that lean mass. And also it is, again, there's a million of these, so these are just a couple of the ones that I don't get talked about a lot. So repairing of cells, so muscle cells, muscle tissue. We're in a constant state of what we call MPS, or muscle protein synthesis and muscle protein breakdown. So every second our body's trying to fight for that balance. And essentially, like what I'm doing right now, I've just worked out, I've just gone into this muscle protein breakdown state. So I need to go into this synthesis or this production of protein state to try and create a more positive energy balance in terms of protein. And that's gonna come from the foods that I eat. So I've broken down those tissues, stimulate growth through working out and training. Now I need to synthesize or produce and create protein to repair the cells that I've just used. It's best used when we go and consume around 3 to 5 meals through frequency throughout the day. So consuming minimum of 3 throughout the day, we need to again stimulate this muscle protein synthesis. We want to keep that going. That's why you see bodybuilders eat sort of like 8 meals, which again, a bit excessive, but they consume a stupid amount of calories. So consuming around 3 meals a day seems to be sufficient for this to be in a net positive. Now, if we're looking at how much, it's going to be very dependent on person to person, on your body weight. So there's a couple of equations that we can use. So this is the one I like using. Generally, it's 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So if I'm 100 kilos, I got 2.2, I'm 220 grams per day. For 1.6, it's going to be 160 grams per day. If this is hard to consume, especially for females, it tends to be a bit of an issue to consume that much protein if you're not used to it. You can err on the lower end of 1.4. I wouldn't go any lower than that, to be honest with you. I'd try and stick around this 1.6, or at least start at 1.4 and build up to 1.6 and eventually try and err around the sort of middle area. 1.8-ish would be pretty good. 2.2 seems to be pretty good for most people. There have been studies to show, especially if you are in a massive calorie deficit, that sort of 2.5 and even above can be superior for holding on to lean body mass, lean muscle tissue, sorry. 4.4 was used, I believe, in a lot of people that were in burns units to try and help replenish cell function and also skin as well, because protein is really important for that as well. Not that you have to go to this extreme at all. If you're erring on the upper end, 2.5 is pretty good for most people. I think I'm around 2.5 to 3 grams, and I feel really good on that. If we're looking at sources, where we're going to get that from, we're looking at any red meats, like your beef steaks, all that sort of fun stuff. White meats, looking at obviously chickens, turkey, things of that nature. Any type of fish, white fish or sort of salmon, the more fattening fishes. Even things like mackerel and anchovies and all that sort of stuff are containing protein. Decent amount of fat as well with that, good quality fats. Eggs are going to consume it, egg whites,
is another good option as well. Really high protein, next to no carbohydrates and fats with egg whites. Tofu for you vegans, vegetarians, etc. out there. Protein powder is another really efficient one. Are protein powders necessary? No, but they are very, very efficient. You can get them multiple different ways. You can get them in from whey, from a WPI or a WPC, or even casein. If you are vegan, then a rice or a pea protein is going to be a good option for you. The rice and the pea protein is good, but it's still inferior when we compare it to whey protein. You gotta remember that all proteins aren't, and all calories aren't created equally. There's far superior amino acid spectrums or profiles in whey protein relative to these two. So even if you are vegan, if you can push yourself to try and have a little bit of whey in there, then that's probably a good thing. If you're a animal rights activist, or you are very sort of against animals being abused, things like that, which they shouldn't be anyway, don't get me wrong. But I think from a milking perspective, they're not really getting hurt that much. So I think if you can push yourself to go for whey, you're doing yourself a favor. So hopefully that helps, guys. And that is the end of this vlog. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. If you're not already, please hit that like button. Please subscribe and give Will some love. Will is the videographer genius who is creating all this cool content and collaborating. I'm just this mug that's in front of you, just talking to you guys. But Will's the genius behind the camera. So I'm going to insert his handle in here somewhere. Will, please do that. If you've not seen last week's video, it's up here, LinkedIn. And please leave us a comment. What are you thinking of the vlogs? What would you like to see more of? It helps us create content for you guys and create some fun and entertainment. So on that note, stay safe. Have a great day.